Hello, and welcome to week 9. This week we're going to be looking at prison literature. So let's take a look at the materials. For this week, we're going to look at a couple examples of prison literature, but also we're going to take a look at argumentation and narrative. So one of an interesting way to engage your readers is to sort of tell a story. We've all liked telling stories, and so if you can attach that narrative to your argument, it's very effective. So a lot of these pieces that we'll be reading advocate for, let's say, better facilities or some of the downsides of solitary confinement. So within these stories, there is some sort of argument of what these people are trying to draw attention to, whether it's a flaw of the justice system or whether it's a problem through their trial and their incarceration. So we're going to take a little look at narrative and argument. There are 2 brief articles about how it can be used within argumentation and argumentative writing. And then we'll take a look at prison literature. So here we have the short story called In the Belly of the Beast by Jack Abbott. He's a very interesting individual. He actually only spent only a couple of years of his life outside of prison walls. He was in reform school. He was in and out of prison through his young adulthood. A famous writer saw his capabilities as a writer, helped him get parole, and then Abbott went and murdered somebody and ended up back in prison. So it's a very interesting story, and this one's about solitary confinement, and it shows the psychological effect of being in that space. Letters to My Younger Self. This folder has a collection of a couple short pieces from a work that is done through Widener University, another school that I teach at. These were all pieces written by the inmates at Grateford Prison. And then Reflections of Fatherhood is a collection written by inmates from San Quentin. You may remember San Quentin from the United Shades of America episode we watched earlier. And this is a short video. This is not a piece of literature per se, but this is a short video with Piper Kerman, who wrote Orange is the New Black, the show the TV series has been inspired by. So she was in prison for a year. She was caught doing drug trafficking. And so she has some of her observations about her time in prison and also what she has observed as an advocate for somebody to help people who have been incarcerated, some of the things that she's worked on. So I just thought that was an interesting piece to include. All right, so let's take a look at what assignments we've got for this week. We've got a discussion board. And for the discussion board, I'd like you to take one of the pieces, except the Piper Kerman video. Since that's not a piece of literature, that doesn't apply to the discussion board. Take one of the pieces, whether it's a piece of poetry, whether it's a short story, and think, what is the narrator's argument that they're pushing through this story? What do you think they're trying to say? 300 words, respond to at least 2 classmates. Use proper citations, but for this, since we're just looking at the piece that we look at in class, you do not have to find additional research, but definitely still cite whatever piece that you're working with. And secondly, we have a short vocabulary test. So what I'd like you to do is take a look at this particular article. And within this article, there are several words that I've pulled out. And I'd like you to take a look at what those words mean based on research, look them up and the context clues provided and write your own definition for those words. There are only 5 words. So on one hand, it's not a lot to look up and develop definitions, but on the other hand, they're all worth 20 points each. So make sure that you effectively kind of look at it, think about what these words can mean, and realize the value of each point. All right, so that is it for this week. Both of these items are due next Sunday, and if you have any questions, just email me.